The Wild Boars of Madness. Chapter 24. Teacher Lie.
That summer, Jen graduated from high school and landed a good job in the county town. However, within a month she resigned and returned home. La Yang encountered Jen multiple times. Jen appeared even more lively and beautiful, exuding a charm that La Yang couldn't describe using his vocabulary. Each encounter left La Yang burying his head lower and blushing even more, wishing he could find a hole to crawl into. One noon, Lao Yang rested by the protective wall at a sharp bend in the mountain road. The 5 large characters written on the wall had weathered the elements, and reminiscing about the days when he and clerical staff wrote there felt like a dream. A BJ Jeep climbed up from below and parked beside him. A young man in the passenger seat leaned out the window, smiling and waving at him. "Hey, fellow villager, is Feng Shujin's house around here?" Observing this young man with delicate features, a bright demeanor, and an indescribable air of sophistication that La Yang couldn't quite put into words, he realized that the man was quite refined. Later, using the words he had picked up, he would say the young man had a certain high-class quality. Thinking about it, the young man's air seemed somewhat similar to Zhen's, but perhaps Zhen's sophistication didn't quite match this young man's. With these thoughts, La Yang couldn't help but feel a bit inferior and momentarily lost in his own musings. When the young man mentioned the name, La Yang couldn't immediately place it. People in the mountains use simple names or nicknames, full names are rarely used. For example, with Zhen, people just call her Zhen. And everyone knows she is the team leader's family Zhen. Yes, the team leader's surname is Feng and Zhen seems to be called Feng Shujin. Back in primary school, she might have been called that. Seeing that La Yang remained silent for a while, the young man thought he had encountered a mute person and waved at him. The driver had already started the car. La Yang hurriedly took a couple of steps to catch up and ask, "Is it Zhen from the team leader's house?" "Feng Shujin?" The young man smiled. "That should be her. Feng Shujin, 17 years old." La Yang thought, "That must be her. The only Zhen who's 17 years old." The young man asked La Yang to lead the way. La Yang was delighted to guide them. This presented an opportunity to catch a glimpse of Zhen. However, he hesitated, feeling shy at the thought of meeting her. He wondered if he could find a hole to crawl into. Yet, he quickly realized that being able to do something for Zhen was rare. Even if it meant jumping off the cliff here, it was worth it. Was he really afraid of just catching a glimpse of Zhen? As La Yang's thoughts were in turmoil, the young man extended his head from the car window and said, "Fellow villager, get in. Sit in the back. Take us there." La Yang had never taken such a car before. La Yang once sat on hand treader, sitting on a large treader, the large buses that had been taken at the bus station. However, a car where he had to open the door himself was a first. La Yang knew there was a handle on the car door, but he was afraid he wouldn't know how to use it, embarrassing himself in front of the mountain folks in Zhen. Shaking his head and waving his hand, La Yang quickened his pace to lead the way. The young man remarked to the driver, "At first, I thought he was a mute, but now he seems like a fool." They both burst into laughter. The driver pressed on the accelerator, and the BJ Jeep caught up with La Yang. Coming to a halt in front of him, the driver jumped out and went to the right side, opening the rear door and pulling La Yang inside. Initially somewhat awkward, upon entering, La Yang quickly got used to it. He observed that apart from the seats being softer, the space was narrow, legs couldn't be stretched, and the carriage was just a canvas awning. Nonetheless, he didn't find anything particularly impressive. His worries faded away. As the BJ Jeep ascended and descended the winding mountain road, making a few turns on the rocky path along the mountainside, it stopped beneath the foundation of the team leader's house. La Yang alighted, climbed a few steps, pushed open the gate, crossed the courtyard, and stood by the earthen wall, calling out, Feng, someone's here to see Zhen." No response from Feng, but Zhen came out holding a book. Dressed in a white floral outfit, the afternoon sun illuminated her clothes, casting a glaring light that reddened Lao Yang's face. At that moment, the young man stood by the house's foundation, straightening his clothes. When he noticed someone coming out, he quickly turned his attention. The young man said, "Shujin, it's me. I've arrived."